Okay. We'll give it another 2 or 3 minutes to make sure we get everybody on. Anybody heartbroken over the tragic Oregon whooping that happened last night? Wow. All right, so I don't know how many of you are real familiar with the operations on Teams and stuff like that. If you look up at the top of your screen, you're going to see there's a like something to show you all the people that are involved, and then next to that should be a raise that shows a hand. If you've got a question, comment, something you want to throw out there, either put it into the chat and we'll monitor the chat and answer questions, or you could raise your hand and we'll stop and take the time to answer that question. That way we're not talking over each other. Well, if you put it back down, I can't. There we go. What's up, Angela? Why you got your hand up?
I have my player agent and my secretary are part of this meeting. Are you okay if they, if they have questions and talk?
I encouraged you guys to invite your entire board to the meeting.
Perfect.
So, yeah, I'm good with that.
Just wanted to verify. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, this is, if you guys take the time to bring as many of your board members as possible, it's easier to disseminate all the information we're going to put out. So I always, whenever we have these presidents meetings, I always encourage you guys to bring as much support so that you guys can work together to make sure you guys have everything you need. So yeah, I don't have a problem with that at any of the meetings. So. All right, so 10 points to anybody who could tell me how the logo is different.
There's a state.
Hey, look at Ronnie seeing what the difference is. Yeah, we finally got that put in there. So now it's Indiana District 14. Hey, look at that. So, all right, we're 5 after. I assume everybody that's going to get in here is going to be here.
Hey, Bishop, I can see you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. I've been trying to figure it out for 10 minutes. I've said that 5 times and you haven't responded.
Okay, I can hear
glad.
you now.
Okay.
Right. Does anybody want to check their microphone just to be sure they're good before we get into it? I hope this doesn't take more than an hour, but.
Check.
Sounds good, Woody.
Doug from Warren said he can't get in.
I've seen Doug jump in and out multiple times. So there's no lobby, guys, that I just made everybody be able to get right in. So he's probably having some technical issues. Yeah, I see a few times. If you look at the chat scroll where he was invited to the meeting, left the meeting, invited to the meeting, left the meeting. So, worst case scenario, I'm going to send the transcript of this and a copy of the video out shortly later today. So that way you guys can review it as needed. All right. So first things first, let's talk about the agenda for today. We're going to talk about the new district vision. Put together a vision statement that kind of encompasses how I feel about the way the district should be run and what I'm going to encourage people to do moving forward. So we'll talk about that for a moment. Introduce all the members of the board so that everybody's fully aware of who's who and what's what. And then we'll do a round robin and introduce all the park presidents. And if you guys have any additional people with you, feel free to introduce them when we go through your park. We're going to talk about charter insurance and background checks and abuse awareness. Those are super important, and you guys should have those in place here as soon as possible, considering that we're at the new year now. We're 10 days into it, and anybody who's not chartered or has insurance is operating in danger. So keep it in mind. Constitution and bylaws and 2025 budgets. We're going to make sure that everybody understands why those are important, and that we need to make sure updated versions of that are submitted to Little League on a regular basis. So finally, the big deal for us is the retirement of the ASAP program. That is no longer a viable program for Little League, and it has been replaced with Little League Safe and Safe to Play. So we'll talk about that a little bit and what that entails. We'll have a couple votes we're going to do. One is the annual 15-year-olds in juniors. Also, we're going to talk about district tournament formats and locations. And finally, the state tournament that we are going to host this year and the upcoming calendar for potential dates for things. So got a lot to go over, and we will get to it. So what I see as the vision for this district is basically what you have in front of you: rivals on the dime and partners in the community. We are uniting District 14 to elevate the game, competing with passion, but collaborating with purpose. Together, we ensure that unwavering integrity, safety, and sportsmanship resonate in every fierce battle on the field and every interaction off the field. Yeah, okay, so I couldn't afford the end. I'm sorry. I'll get it in there. But you guys are each your own leagues, you're each your own park, but we are one community, right? We're here for the betterment of the children in our community to work together. So when we're on the field, we're playing to win. When we're off the field, we're working to build up all the children in our community. And that's the attitude I'm going to take in everything I do this year. So I hope you guys all join me. I hope it's something that takes root and we learn and grow from this. And before we move on, I'll just open up the floor to comments from anybody. Apparently we're all overwhelmed. That's okay. I know it takes a minute. It's a lot of emotion, and well, you don't usually get emotion from me, so, but that's okay. We'll move on to our next slide. I can click the button. Introduction to district staff. So we've got a few new people, a few new presidents, but for the most part, everybody knows I'm the district president, administrator, the guy whose fault it is, whatever, however you want to call it. So Woody Collar is my assistant DA in any event where I'm out of commission for whatever reason. Woody's going to be the guy who steps up and takes over in my place. So say hi, Woody.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's gonna be a great year.
Really excited for it.
Yep.
Really excited for it. All right. Our UIC is Ron Signori. Say hi, Ron.
Good afternoon, everybody. Looking forward to it.
His assistant UIC is Jeff Wirtz. Jeff, you on the call?
Jeff will not be here today. He's at a funeral, unfortunately.
Okay. My secretary, and she's giving me the finger. My secretary and the district safety officer is Ree Christensen. Say hello.
Hello, everyone.
The treasurer is Dorinda Jones. Say hi, Dorinda. I think she made it. Probably going to tell me that I didn't send it to her, even though I did, but that's regardless. The chairman of our state tournament committee is Jane Culp.
Hello, everybody. Looking forward to state tournaments.
The chair of my field revitalization committee is Doug Hollinsworth.
Hello. Looking forward to a great year.
And I think we all know Marlon. He's the one who's going to be assisting everybody this year with ensuring that our constitutions and our bylaws are up to speed. So he's the consultant for that.
You'll all be hearing from me real quick.
And that, and last but not least, I don't have on the slide, but Mary Lou is our challenger coordinator. I don't know if she's here. We do have some changes with South Bend's Challenger League this year. So we'll be talking to a few parks about looking for a new home for those guys. One of the things to talk about as we get into the next slide, which would be an introduction of all the park presidents, we have lost 2 parks this year. The New Prairie Park, very early last year, sent me a letter of intention to not come back to Little League. So we have lost those guys as a park. And Chet Wagner just recently let us know that they are not going to charter this year as a Little League. So we're going to have a bit of a hole in the district that we're going to try to figure out over the next couple of weeks on how we're going to deal with that. Let's see here. One last bit of flux we have going on is, unfortunately, there is a transition in leadership at Cleveland. We don't currently have a president available for that position. They are working on that, and we're going to have some discussions on that Tuesday of who might step in to fill that void. So working down the list, we have for Elkhart FOP Little League, we have Jason Ray, who probably isn't on this call. Yep, he's on duty right now. So we have a new president for Goshen. That would be Diamond Williams. Are you available, Diamond?
Yes, sir. Nice to meet everybody. I look forward to this season.
Good deal. Do you have any of your other staff with you today?
No, sir.
Okay.
Welcome, Diamond. Thank you.
We also have a new president for Middlebury. Christy Meadows has stepped in to take the place of Jim Ralston. Christy, you out there today?
I am. Hi, guys.
Good to have you aboard. You got any of the other staff with you, or just you today?
I don't. There was a lot of basketball here today, so that's where most of my board is.
It's like Little League doesn't care about other sports. You know, they'd schedule Congress on the Super Bowl weekend, like silly stuff like that.
Well, it happens.
Yeah, I know. We have a new president at Oslo also, Lucas Waterman. Say hi, Lucas.
Hey guys, if you guys don't know, Doug Hollingsworth's on our board as well. He's my player agent. So, Christy, I'm glad to see you're president at Middlebury. That's exciting news.
That is exciting. I'm so glad.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm also still serving as player agent as I had no one step up yet, but we're working on that.
And welcome aboard, Lucas. I didn't see that one coming.
Because I'm the guy who fixes the lawnmower.
I just didn't know there was a change coming.
I didn't think you had
Okay.
enough time left in the day to do it.
I'm here.
I feel this is going to hurt umpire staffing somehow or way or shape or form. I don't know yet.
Well, we got two
No.
new ones at Oslo.
I can always start calling games.
Oh, no. That's got to be Chris Bishopson that has to call those games.
I don't know how Lucas or Doug, either one, have more time in their day for anything.
Well, I
And to
take
keep-
hour and a half lunch and scam my boss out of some time and get it
Oh,
done.
there you go. Right on. Now to keep the new president train running, Angela Vanderhaten is the new president for Southeast. Say hi, Angela.
I thought we were keeping that a secret.
It's on the data center. I don't know what else to say. It just is.
Hi.
And who do you have with you? Who's the staff you have with you?
Oh, that's a good question. So we have Casey. He is very new to our board, a board member at large, but he's actually had his hand kind of in everything. So that's been great. We have a brand new player agent this year. Her name's Lena. She's pretty incredible. She's on our softball side. Kim Reeder, she's in here. She's our secretary. And I don't know if anybody else has hopped in since then, but I don't think so. So that should be everybody from my park that's attending.
Okay. Good to hear. Good to hear.
Angela, you've been the president all along.
No, no, it hasn't been me. There was another girl and a guy in between me and her. So, I just was there to have parties.
Leadership's important. So we do have a returning president with Elizabeth Connolly from Southside. Elizabeth, you out there?
I'm here.
Good
Hello,
deal.
everybody.
You bring any extra staff with you?
I've got Aaron Ellis, our I guess he's our player agent this year. A little bit
Okay.
of everything. Glenn Kazora is our park VP and Mr. Do It All. And possibly Emily Kazora might be on. And I think that's all from Southside right now.
Good deal. Good to hear. Good to hear.
That's our
I'd love to see
main
that
core
board grow a
people.
little bit.
Yeah, me too.
Fair enough. And to continue the returning presidents, Doug Mathis from Warren. How you doing, Doug? I see Warren Little League there. And I see no microphone action. Okay. And then last but not least, from Warren, we have Jody Williams. Jody, you here?
Yep, I'm out here.
Good to have
Good to
you.
hear from everybody. I have my vice president, Mike Marsh, is on the call too.
Okay, good deal. Good deal. All right. Well,
Sorry, new phone. Who this? Doug Mathis is here. So
good deal. Hey, Doug.
yeah, no, I'm here. Apologize. So
No, you're fine, man.
just me from Warren. So
Okay.
Yep.
Awesome.
That was a great introduction.
Yeah.
well, I got a new phone and I got some new earbuds for Christmas, and so I'm learning all of this, and I'm old and technology is passing me by, and I'm frustrated. So, but I got it figured out.
That's all that matters. You get it figured out and move on. So, all right. So before we go any further, thank every one of you. Everybody who's on this is doing it out of the kindness of their heart. They're doing it for the right reasons. They're doing it because we're here to take care of the kids in our community. It's a thankless job. You get moments where you see good things happen in your park or at other parks, and that is the reward you get for doing what you volunteered to do. I appreciate each and every one of you guys, and I'm happy to work with each and every one of you guys to make this the best experience we can for our kids. Let's get into the good stuff. So one of the things we want to focus on right off the bat, we want to make sure that you guys, since this isn't a paid position, this isn't a glory position, we want to make sure that you guys are protected from liability and you're doing things the way that they're intended to be, and you've got the financial backing of Little League and AIG in order to protect you from anything that may go wrong. So that being said, you want to make sure that you guys have chartered because your charter expired on December 31st. I know that we've got 3 or 4 leagues out there that have already chartered, so we're coming close to half. The thing to keep in mind is when you charter, all you need to do is charter a team and pay your insurance. You can adjust that up to June 1st, but you want to make sure you get your charter established, and you want to make sure that you get your insurance in place, because I know not a lot of people are doing in-person signups anymore. A lot of that's just going through Sports Connect. But when you get into tryouts and stuff like that, you want to make sure that you've got that insurance in place. Or if you've got somebody going down to the park to start to prep things for the season, and if they have an accident, you want to be sure that the park itself is covered and it has a way to protect the people that help you. So we want to get into your the next thing here we want to get into is going to be, well, before I leave this slide, I want you guys to understand one thing. According to Little League, you have to have a background check and you have to have abuse awareness done before you can take over any of your responsibilities. So I unfortunately am behind. I need to take care of my abuse awareness and my first aid training, a couple other things I need. They've added some things that we're going to talk about with the play safe. But what we need to do is get that in place here as soon as possible. I'll have mine wrapped up by the end of the weekend. I'd suggest if you have time, please get you and your volunteers all squared away with the proper training for each year. So talking about constitutions and bylaws and the budget, there's a form that I will send out to everybody that is just a high level overview of your budget for last year. Little League requires that you send that in just so that they're aware of it. One of the things I want you guys to keep in mind with your constitution, especially as you have a lot of new presidents taking over this year, take the time to sit down and read through your constitution. Understand that constitution is your operating procedures. That constitution tells you how things are to be changed, not only within the park, but within the board and how things are voted upon and such. You have established rules of operation of your park. So when you utilize this tool with your parents, you could put that out in front of them and go, this is how we do this. And then you just have to do it. Now, if you come to a point where that constitution needs to be amended, there are procedures within your constitution to make that amendment. For most parks, those amendments happen at the annual meeting, which is usually towards the end of the year or right at the beginning of the year. Just depends on which park it is. And you'll have information in there on who has the ability to vote, who constitutes a quorum, and what procedures are needed if you don't have a quorum. So take the time to get into those. And if you've got questions, reach out to myself, reach out to Marlon. We're more than happy to help you through things. We've seen the effects of what a poor constitution can do to a park, i.e. see Concord. You want to protect the park. That way, in the future, it has the ability to withstand any kind of attack from disgruntled parent or outside forces like a travel ball program wanting to take over your park. That you need to know what those procedures are so that you can do what's in the best interest of the kids. One thing I do want to put out, talking about travel ball systems, if you guys are going to host a travel ball program within your park, Little League doesn't have a problem with that. Little League actually supports that. They're all for it, because the more you play, the better you get. One thing you need to keep in mind is those are separate entities. They may coexist in the same location, but they are separate legal entities, and they need to be treated as such. Think about them as two different stores in a strip mall. You're in the same location, but one's got their own set of books and the other one has their own set of books. You can't intermingle, right? Not unless you legally transfer money back and forth or equipment or what have you. Because at the end of the day, everything that you've raised under the name of Little League is a part of that Little League organization. And you don't want to put yourself in a compromising position by moving equipment or funds into another organization that's not Little League. So keep it in mind, right? Just something to put out there so that you guys have some options. And then when you decide, for instance, there's some conversations about what do we do with our 17, 18-year-old teenage divisions, because we don't support them anymore as Little League. Well, if a park wanted to charter a senior or like whatever Babe Ruth's 17, 18-year-old division is, it doesn't interfere with their league because they'll be a separate entity. So something to keep in mind. You guys can operate different programs and do different things, but just protect yourselves and the park so that there's no possibility for misinterpretation of what you're doing. So anybody have any questions about that before I move on? Oh, nobody can hear you talking, but the question was, do they have to have two separate bank accounts? Do they have to have two separate treasurers? You don't have to have two separate treasurers, two separate bank accounts. You have to have two separate organizations, and the treasurer for one can be the treasurer for the other. For instance, like for FOP, the treasurer for the FOP Little League just happens to be the treasurer for the FOP organization. They're the same person, but they are serving two different organizations. And as long as you can show the difference there, and whether you do that through accounting through one central fund or you operate separate funds, that's entirely up to your organization. But you have to be able to show that they are separate. So otherwise you can run into some issues moving forward.
I'm assuming this is also kind of goes towards anybody, for instance, like our park considering dual chartering, correct?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of parks out there that are considering operating I mean, we've had parks operating like travel ball leagues, boys of summer, that kind of thing for years now. But we've never. It's always been that. Well, let's just not talk about it because they're not just. Let's leave that. No, like unfortunately, that brings us to a situation where if we don't open it up and be transparent about the differences between our program and other programs and how we protect ourselves and make the best for every child out there, then we're going to lose parks, we're going to lose kids, and they're not going to gain anything in that transition. I did this week. I spent some time going through the Babe Ruth website, going through and doing rule comparisons and all this other things to try to understand as an organization what's the advantage. And they're almost identical organizations. There's a slight difference between what they call a major 70 and our intermediate ball. But other than that, it's the same pitch count. It's the same. You have to, in order to play on a tournament team, you have to live in their boundaries. They're kind of an apples for apples organization. ESPN just has Little League as opposed to Babe Ruth. So for the parks that are looking at that as we're going to gain a competitive advantage, I don't see it, and I'd love to know how and why, so that when I do get my opportunities at, say, Congress or these regional meetings, I can voice that opinion. We can start pushing that up the chain and really get things changed so that we are catering to our customers, the children, the parents, the parks, you guys. We want to make it the best experience we can. But that all starts with ensuring that we've structured ourselves accordingly and we understand what we're doing. So take the time, get into your Constitution, understand the difference between your Constitution and your bylaws, right? Constitution is how you're going to operate the park as an organization. Your bylaws are how you're going to run divisions within your park. So are you going to have T-ball, coach pitch, machine pitch, player pitch? How are you going to structure those things? That's your bylaws. Bylaws can be changed on a regular basis, pretty simple. That's all board stuff. Constitution requires membership votes, or it should. So take a look at your Constitution and make sure that you're familiar with it. Oh, yeah, turn your mic on.
So one thing I want to bring up is something that we came across for our park. Concord, even though they're no longer Little League, did come over and help our park with a field thing. It was a big, huge project. And afterwards, they had asked if our softball girls would play against theirs. And obviously, we wanted to do it, but we had to make sure that we were covered by insurance. So we gave them a copy of our insurance. They had to give us a copy of theirs, and it wasn't allowed. So that's one thing you want to be careful that you're doing, is even though you're running parallel in your park, make sure your insurance will cover, like, if one, how do I word that? I want to make sure I'm saying it right, but
well, a lot of the problems we run into with plain non-Little League teams is that either they don't have enough insurance to meet the minimum requirements that you guys have to, or they refuse to name Little League as a beneficiary of the insurance. That's usually the reasons why there's an issue. A lot of these travel ball teams, they're covering their players and their players only, and there's no reciprocation in the event of any kind of accident. So that's a lot of the reasons why some of these travel ball requests get denied. So keep that in mind when you guys are putting in those requests. I will say this as we look to start scheduling out into the future. Edwardsburg is just right across the toll road there, and those guys are already asking to interleague with not just Oslo but any other park within our district. So just something to keep in mind. If you guys want to reach out to that Edwardsburg president with a couple of teams, we can put that together actually relatively easy. So that's just going on to the data center after you've made arrangements with that park and submitting a special games form with a little league team. And Doug, you guys have done that the last 3 years?
Yeah, at least. Edwardsburg used to be part of our district, and they are close. And like you said, it's easy since they are a little league and they're in a district that bounds against ours. It's easy to get games against them.
For sure. So, and it's an easy drive. It's a fun little park. I encourage you guys to reach out to them if you want to grab some games, especially for your teenage divisions. So special games count towards all-star eligibility. So it wouldn't really do anything since there's no senior eligibility requirements, but it would help any juniors. All right, so let's talk about the big deal this year. Little League Safe. So Little League Safe is the replacement program that is coming in for the retired ASAP program. I don't know that there's any glaring differences. I see that Oslo did complete theirs already. Attaboy, good job. One thing I will say is that
Go Doug, go.
Go Doug, go. There are some park financial benefits to embracing this program and getting it done, along with some of the other training programs that are invested in it. There is a potential for a 15% reimbursement on your insurance. So that's kind of nice to hear, just making sure that you guys are getting your background checks done, your abuse awareness done, and they've added a first aid training also. There's a video for that now, so I'm glad to see that. That's been sorely needed. Just to give you guys an example of what you might find when you go to that League Safe page. Here's the safe summary steps, which look really, really similar to the ASAP program. So there's not a lot of transition in that. And this is mostly informational on how you're going to handle these different things. You can see the field surveys still within that. What was that? Not sure who that was. Chat. Oh, that's Ronnie's cyborg keeping notes in the chat. So it's a pretty straightforward program. It's done on the data center. It's a fill in the blank kind of thing. Like I said, very reminiscent of ASAP. One of the things that help us, and this is probably a good time to talk about it, as a district, we do an assessment fee per team chartered to every league. And the reason why we do that is that we don't have registrations. We don't do fundraisers, any of that thing. In order to cover the costs of medals and banners and such, we charge a fee to each park based upon the number of teams that you charter. So we won't send out an invoice until we get into the season or even the end of the season. But for with so many new presidents, I want to make sure that you're aware of that. And I forget if it's $10 or $15. $15. Okay. So that's the nice thing about that is I can keep that number down to $15 per team, because when you guys complete your safety programs, there's a financial reimbursement back to us. And with ASAP, it was a $600 reimbursement, which just about covered all of the banners for last year. So when you guys are doing this, there's some implications that you guys want to keep in mind, is that getting this done and getting this done in a timely manner helps ensure that things like medals for runner-up and champions of our district, along with the banners for each one of those guys, we can continue to do that because we have the funding to do that. So getting into the safety program, once it's completed, you're going to get this safe summary link. The nice thing about it is you can post that on your website so that everybody has access to it, or you can download the file and then you can send that out to your managers so they have a copy of it. So I'd recommend both. What's the question, Angela?
Okay. I don't know if I'm asking the right spot. Do we have to have the safety base for the juniors and seniors, since they're supposed to follow the high school rules?
What do you mean, the breakaway bases or the double first?
Double first.
Woody, Ronnie, either one of you know the rule on that?
Well, they are going to do double first base for softball. I'm not so sure about baseball side.
I haven't heard a confirmation on the baseball side yet.
Okay. I'll reach out to Central and get an official on it here, and then shoot that out to everybody, probably early next week. So.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. So looking at the 4 pillars of the program here, what it's going to be surrounded by, based upon, it's going to be child protection, physical safety, which probably talking about those double bags, along with field conditions and that sort of thing. Mental well-being, which is going to lean more into our diamond leader training. They're going to start to recommend that more and more, not just for tournament time, but definitely for tournament time. And then finally, local league risk management. How do we protect the league from adverse effects from either people doing something wrong or not taking care of the park in a particular way? So they're kind of looking at a holistic approach to what it is to be a safe league. So we'll start with child protection. Commencing with the 2024 season, Little League has updated child protection program to include all the provisions of Little League's child protection policy into one. The comprehensive document, which will be known as the Little League Child Protection Program, incorporating the policy into the full program as outlined here, provides all the information a league needs regarding the protection of its players in one location and clearly outlines the requirements of the local league. The goal is to ensure local leagues, parents, and caretakers, and all volunteers in the league understand the obligation and requirement of the local league regarding the protection of its players. Please note, going forward, Little League International will refer to these local leagues and volunteer requirements as the Little League Child Protection Program, and we will continue to provide educational resources to bring these essential programs to life for local leagues and volunteers. Whew. In a nutshell, they're this is talking about abuse awareness and how it is a mainstay. It's something that needs to be educated every year. It's something that we need to maintain a vigilant eye and be there for the protection of these children. So as a chartered league, we must adhere to the following requirements to remain affiliated with Little League Baseball and Softball. Complete your background checks. So all your background checks have to be done through the Sports Connect JDP link. So what that means for you is there's no paper forms anymore. You're going to have to go on to your Sports Connect website and fill out that information, request to be a volunteer, and then that information will be processed in the back office by your player agent or whoever you have assigned for that. It requires mandatory training and continuing education. This is in the form of the Little League Abuse Awareness course that needs to be done every year. Mandatory reporting requirements. Basically, it says here that you need to report abuse to the authorities within 24 hours. Little League personnel do not count as the authorities. If you have any questions about that, what I would like you to do is to go to the Little League website and look at the SAFE program, specifically the child protection one. And there will be a link for all state requirements, and just simply go to the Indiana one and it will spell out exactly what the Indiana requirements are. So non-retaliatory reporting, that was part of the training last year. Basically, we need to ensure all of the people that are volunteers or parents or around our parks that if they see something and say something, regardless of what the investigation shows, there's not going to be any retaliatory effects on their person. And then finally, build into your programs not to allow one-on-one interactions. Basically, you want to make sure that coaches understand that there needs to be 2 coaches on the field with any of the children, so that at the end of the day, if you're waiting on one last child to be picked up, there's somebody there with you. It just ensures that we're not going to see anything happen that we don't want to see to a child. So, and this is just a brief overview of what the safety program is now. As we go through these other 3 pillars and just talk about them, at the end of the month, we're going to do a safety officer training program, and we'll talk about that at the end of this presentation on important dates. But just know that you don't have to get everything. You don't have to get all your questions asked or get all your questions answered with this. But if you have something that you want to speak up on, by all means, speak up. Physical safety. Physical safety focuses on preventing injuries, preparing for emergencies, and maintaining a safe playing environment, proper equipment, safe facilities, and informed volunteers all play an important role in supporting safe play. One of the things I will throw out as a part of this compensation for early adoption and completion of your safety program and your background checks and your first aid training and your abuse awareness is that there is going to be compensation from AIG for the purchase of automatic defibrillators. It's something that they're pushing really hard to make sure that every park is going to be equipped with at least one of those. So I know some parks already have those. And if you do, part of your safety program has to be proper training on the use of the AEDs. Otherwise, if you don't have anybody that knows how to use it, you probably don't have anybody that will use it. So, yes, Angela.
If anybody needs a contact for that, we actually have a person coming out. He is the husband of one of our board members. He's been bringing one to our park. He's one of our assistant coaches as well. He's been bringing one to our park for every game. They are light years upgraded from what they used to be. Ours on site is actually super old, and these are really cool. And it's one pad for kid and adult. So if anybody does need a contact for that, let me know, or let you know, and you tell me, and I can shoot you guys that information, because he will come show you, give you the pricing, do all the things. He's pretty cool.
Angela, go ahead and get me that information. I'll put together a program and show the benefits of how we can get that offset by AIG.
No problem.
Okay. Part of the physical safety is going to be the new first aid training. So there is on littleleague.org, there is a training now for first aid. So you want to make sure that all your managers and coaches, concession workers, even your parents, take a moment and go through that. So nothing's worse than seeing a child get hurt and immediately you see them doing things that you know they shouldn't be doing, and unfortunately making an injury worse. So take the time to go through that and encourage everybody else to do that. Mental well-being is the third pillar, and that is focused on creating a positive environment where players feel respected, supported, and encouraged. One of the primary focuses on this is the Diamond Leader training, which has changed since it was originally introduced. All you presidents, if you've gone through it and you haven't done it within the last 2 years, I would suggest you do it again, just to see how the program's changed and enhanced. There's some strategic alliances now with the MLB Crisis Line. That's actually a chat-based service that you could reach out. It's right on the Little League website. Very easy, very good, simple to use. And I am being bombarded on a daily basis from the Positive Coaching Alliance. We're going to start to give out some of those best practices and lessons learned that we're receiving from those guys, because the Mannings want us to take back sports. And everybody's like, I don't know what he means by that.
I do.
It's good to know Steph Curry's got a second job. All right. Finally, local league risk management. Managing risk helps leagues plan ahead, operate responsibly, and effectively when unexpected situations happen. So what this does is just teach you guys to look at your park with a critical eye, to anticipate where things can become a problem, and to build processes to start to take care of those things. So it's probably something that we will find some time to sit down in a roundtable and talk about things that we've seen and how do other parks mitigate those kind of risks. So that's our 4 pillars of the new safety system. Pretty straightforward. It's detailing out a lot of the things that were still a part of the ASAP program, but now they're trying to bring them into a brighter light so that you're protected as a park as a whole and not just from an injury. So all right, moving on. We're going to talk about the annual 15-year-olds playing in junior divisions for baseball and softball. First thing I'm going to ask is, does any park president does any park president want to vote no, that you do not want 15-year-olds to be eligible to play junior baseball or junior softball?
I have a question with that.
Fire away.
Is the pitching changing? Because I believe I was questioned about that last year, especially in baseball. 15-year-olds pitching in juniors.
Christy, can you not see my slide?
I can, but it's a little fuzzy. Sorry, I don't have my glasses. I got my
I'm
old
sorry.
lady glasses.
We
I don't have them.
It's a two-part vote. The first one,
Okay.
if you guys are going to vote against 15-year-olds being in the division, then I don't have to vote on pitching. So first, we want to make sure that everybody's okay with 15-year-olds being in the junior division, and then if you are, then we're going to take a vote on whether or not we want to allow 15-year-olds to pitch. So all those in favor of 15-year-olds playing in the junior division, raise your hand.
I'm so sorry. My grandson just got home. Can you restate what we're voting on? I'm sorry.
15-year-olds eligibility in the junior baseball and softball divisions.
Are we voting for it or against it right now?
If you raise your hand, you're voting for it. I assume Doug's going to abstain. Mr.
Yeah,
Mathis?
sorry, I apologize. I'm actually traveling back from Southern Indiana, so I'm kind of in and out of the car. But yeah, I'm good. I'm good with whatever the park league votes for.
Okay.
Hey, Lucas here. I'm sorry, I was changing a diaper. Yes, I would vote for 15-year-olds.
All right. So that's basically unanimous. So 15-year-olds will play in the junior divisions, baseball and softball this year. They have the eligibility to do such a thing. Now, the second vote is pretty simple. Everybody put your hands back down unless you want to just leave them up. Are we going to allow 15-year-olds to pitch in softball and baseball in the junior division? The simpler question would be, does anybody object to that?
Can I just ask what if you would know of a reason why someone would object to it?
Because they've got a 13-year-old child that they don't want to be facing a 15-year-old pitcher.
Think of it this way.
It would be a personal reason.
Who's league age 13 facing a 16-year-old who's league age 15.
Yeah. I mean, there could be
a huge change.
Yeah.
But realistically, they're probably seeing that when they're doing sandlot games and playing in their backyards and with their friends and pickup games and stuff.
Yeah. Normally, I'm going to just say normally when I for as long as I can remember, juniors have played in, or 15-year-olds have played in the junior division, and 15-year-olds have had the ability to pitch in the junior division. So unless there's a specific reason that people want to bring to the table that we can have that conversation about, I'm going to. Yeah.
I have a question. That the 15-year-olds for baseball, is the pitch count different based on their age, or?
Yes.
They get more pitches per week?
Correct. Their pitch count is based upon their age.
Okay.
So.
Can I say something? Can I say something real quick? Yep. I'm for 15-year-olds pitching. One, you get more pitchers able to pitch, and also you might have a 13-year-old come in who's having a hard time even getting across the plate.
Yeah.
And and I can't tell you how many games I've seen where it's just walk after walk after walk after walk. I don't like opening up the zone because it's a disservice to the batter.
Yep.
And I just feel like with 15-year-olds pitching, you'll see a little bit more better quality pitcher. You might get the one who can bring it, and but majority of the time, 15-year-olds will probably be running around the low 60s.
Yeah.
For baseball. So I don't think they're going to be overwhelming the 13-year-olds all that much. I think it would be better all the way around if 15-year-olds did pitch. Just because the batters would see better pitches, and then, truthfully, it'd be a little bit more exciting, to see hits instead of walks. That's my take on it.
Well said, Woody. So before we move
Woody.
on from this, the last thing I'm going to ask is, does any park have an objection to 15-year-olds pitching? Christy, is your hand up because you object or because you forgot to put it down?
Because it won't go down. I just want to be different. Sorry.
Fair enough.
I'm still trying to get it to come down and it won't do it. Okay, I think I did it.
All right,
There
good
you
deal.
go.
Good deal.
Sorry.
No, you're good. Okay. So one of the things I want to stress, though, remember that when we get to All-Stars, 15-year-olds won't have eligibility on a junior team. This is just for local regular season play. This isn't for tournament play. All right. Next on the agenda, district formats and locations. So every year we didn't the first year because I was a dictator. And we voted the last 2 years on formats, whether it's modified double elimination or it's pool play, and which you guys prefer. Now, everybody was not happy with modified elimination because they paid $300 to put in a tournament team and they only got 2 games and they got run out of the tournament. And then we played pool play and we couldn't pitch 3 games in 3 days because we didn't have enough pitchers. So those were the 2 major disadvantages of each format. So now what I would like to do is get a vote. And if you would like modified double elimination, I want you to raise your hand. If you would like pool play, I want you not to raise your hand or verbalize no.
Okay, maybe I'm the only one that needs
Ron
clarification on that.
Ron doesn't get a vote. Just throwing it out there.
Dang it. I was literally trying to throw one in.
What was that again, Christy?
So I guess I'm maybe the only one who needs a little bit better clarification on that. Like, I know the difference between double elimination and pool play, but what do you mean by the modified? Thank you.
Okay. Modified double elimination. The reason why we do modified double elimination is because it saves days in the format. Because unfortunately, living in the Midwest, it is generally the very last Saturday in April or the first Saturday in May that we can start play. And then all through May, we're fighting rain. And we're trying to get a 12-game season jammed in before we get to June 15th, where we want to start All-Stars. Right? And then if we even push that June 15th date out to the 28th, now we've got barely any time and no rain days built into having our district tournaments done before we get to the state tournament level. The thing about the state tournament level, and I want you guys, we're going to talk about some dates here in the next slide. The state tournament level is dictated by the regional dub, and the regional is dictated by the World Series, and the World Series is dictated by ESPN. So all of those dates have been filtered down to us. So what we have now is trying to figure out the most consistent way to get us through a tournament that doesn't take 2 weeks to run a single tournament, because we don't have that 2 weeks. So modified double elimination, essentially what it is when you get down to the semifinals, it becomes single elimination. Now, if you come in as an undefeated team and you're playing somebody in the semifinals who has already had their loss and they beat you, you're out of the tournament, and that team goes to the finals. That is just the way modified double elimination is built. The problem with that is, obviously, you get people that aren't happy with that. But if you add that into another day of gameplay where now that loser has to go to an if-then bracket, it just adds more and more time to what we're going to have for the tournament. And unfortunately, we usually don't have it. When we get to the end of the season, it's pretty tight, and people are fighting to make up games and to get themselves in the position to have their all-star eligibility. So pool play is pretty straightforward. We do a bracket. You play so many people in that configuration, and then the top 2 from each bracket go into a heads-up single elimination game.
I have 2 questions, Bishop.
Yep.
First one, are we voting on the President's Tournament or All-Stars? And the second question is, would you or have you ever considered splitting, doing baseball double elimination and softball pool play, or vice versa?
For me, a lot of it depends on number of teams, because there is a point in time where the number of teams that are entered in make it a requirement to go one way or the other.
Mm-hmm.
Like if we get all 9 parks to put in a major softball team, we're probably going to go to pool play, because I don't know how to get it done other than that. But if we've got, like last year, we had 2 teams in 8-10 baseball, right? So we'll just go double elimination and we're done. What I want to do is I want to hear what the district wants for a format, and then try to do that unless we can't. So, and that's based upon participation.
Okay.
I'm a big fan of double elimination. I love the drama that when you get out on the field, you've got to win the game. I struggle with pool play from that position, because if you went 2-0 and you dime that team and that first and second team, and you realize I can get a better seed and play a weaker team just by not scoring as many runs, I don't appreciate the gamesmanship that can be implemented into pool play. That's just personal.
Okay. The first question, are we talking about All-Stars or President's Tournament?
We're talking about All-Stars. We're talking about the international tournament. I'm a dictator for the President's Tournament. I'm going to stick with modified double elimination.
Okay. All right. Thanks for answering my questions.
Yeah, of course, no problem. Anybody else have questions? Angela?
Hey, sorry.
After this vote, I have a question about a tournament, but not to do with All-Stars. So I just didn't want to move forward and not be able to ask a question.
Of course. Okay. So that we're clear
Hey,
about
Bishop.
Yeah.
Bishop.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, we lost 2 of the larger parks.
Yep.
We've lost 3 parks in 3 years now.
Mm-hmm.
We struggled to put teams in these tournaments. I think you just said the answer to the question is it's really going to be dictated by the number of teams we have in it. I would suggest we simply say if it's over X number of teams in any division that it's going to be this way. Otherwise, as you pointed out, if it's only 2 or 3 teams, you kind of only can do it one way. I mean, and I say that in that it's kind of 3 teams is the same thing, whether it's double elimination or round robin. It's you're just got to play the games against those teams. And I think the reality of where we're at right now with Little League is we have less teams in these tournaments.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree with you. And on that note, one of the things that I'm going to put out there is when we opened up this meeting, we talked about the vision and we talked about collaborativeness. And I want to applaud the junior softball team from last year. They combined 3 parks and took what could have been competitive teams, and they created a team that could go do some work. Chet, Middlebury, and Oslo put together a heck of a team, and I was super proud of what they accomplished, getting all the way into the regionals. And Lucas, you guys got all the way to the championship game, right?
No, but we did win our first, I think, first 2 games in the regional.
Okay. I mean, that's something
they did well.
to admire.
They played well.
Yeah. So that being said, for all of the parks here, when you get to tournament time, take a critical eye and look at your players and look at what they're doing and think about if you put together a team that just may not be as competitive as you want them to be, have good conversations with the coaching staff and make sure that they're paying attention to the well-being mentally of those players so that doesn't adversely affect them. And if you think that by expanding President's Tournament and getting more people involved in that sort of tournament action would be beneficial, we can do that and not subjecting them to what could potentially be something overwhelming in the international tournament. It's something to consider. So there's a lot of good ball players out there, and there's a lot of good ball players in the little pockets all over this district. Let's give our best players the best opportunity to go shine. So, yeah, we did the same thing with our senior softball. We combined 3 parks, and unfortunately, that didn't work out as well as they wanted to, but they were competitive. It was a good time for them. So it's just something to keep in mind as we build towards that. But I am putting out there on the table, if we want to expand the President's Tournament beyond just major baseball, major softball, I'm all for it. But I'm also going to need help to run those. I can't do that on my own, especially if we're running concurrent tournaments at that time. So something to keep in mind. Okay.
I'll just say this. We have done, Southeast has done a minor and Pee-wee tournament for the past, 3-4 years now. So it's not terribly hard. It's been a lot of fun. The kids have a lot of fun, even though my team hosted the championship game and wasn't in it. It's fine. I digress. But so if that's something that other parks would want to get into, I know that we have some really great people in our junior divisions that would be willing to help with that.
Good deal. Good to hear. All right. So let's see here. Let's back up.
So did we finish the vote?
Nope.
We did not. Good call.
Okay.
Let's ask this. Let's put a vote to this. And this is a yes or no. Hand up, yes. Hand down, no. And this will be for park presidents. If you want me to assign formats based upon the number of teams involved, then raise your hand. Yes. If you want me to take a vote on a basic format, then keep your hand down. And then if we want me to assign it based upon the number of teams, then I think I'm going to have to look at it from the perspective of, is it an odd or an even situation? If we've gotten up to 6, Marlon, what do you think's a good number to have to go over to pool play?
A good number a good number to work with is 8. When you come right down to it. The only problem I have with where this conversation is going is if you pick an arbitrary number, be it 6, 7, or 8, and then you plan it that way, and then all of a sudden you've got 2 teams drop off the last minute, are you going to change your format back to a different format?
I had to do that last year.
I understand.
In 8-10 baseball.
I understand.
And then 9-10 just disappeared on me. So
right.
Yeah, we're going to be flexible, but we're just trying to figure out some guidelines right now. That's the key for us. Is we just want.
I think where you're going with this, Bishop, the best thing I would suggest to you is you say 6 or more pool, 6 or less, or 5 or less. What do you want to do? Is you can do double elimination or modified double elimination.
And I think that's a good number too. So right now it looks like we've got half of the people are for the mixed format based upon team numbers. All right.
Yeah, again, I apologize, Bishop. I'm driving, but I would vote yes on this.
Okay.
Based on the number of teams. Do it best on the number of teams, do its best.
Yep. Christy's indecisive. She keeps raising her hand and putting it down. She's all excited. She figured out how to put it down now.
You got to keep everybody on their toes.
I see that. All right.
She's going to start a wave.
So we've got a majority for that. So that's what we'll do. All
right.
I'm going to use 6 as the number, and then at that point, what we'll do is when we get into our March meeting, we'll do a draw just so that in case I have to go to we have to do a draw anyway for pool play too. So we'll do the draw, and then whoever winds up with the number 1 seed in an odd division, let's say we've got 3 teams, then whoever got that number 1 would have the first round bye kind of thing, so that everybody understands where we have to go with that. All right, good deal. So looking at some dates, these are administrative things just so that everybody's on board, and all this will get sent out shortly along with the calendar page on the website. Will get updated here shortly. But January 31st, safety clinic. I believe we're going to try to make that happen at Oslo EMS, probably 1:00 or so. On February 28th, we're going to do a player agent clinic. That is probably going to wind up being a virtual clinic. So reach out to all your player agents and let them know, hey, we're going to do all this important training. We're probably looking at somewhere around a 2-hour training cycle there. It's going to focus on Sports Connect and eligibility and all that good stuff. one thing I'd ask for you guys to do in the next week, get on the data center and make sure that all your league officers are updated with contact information. That way, when we send out emails to safety officers or player agents, we know we've got the accurate information and we can get those to the appropriate people. So March 28th, here's something that I really want you guys to start promoting within your parks. I want to, in the thoughts of embracing transparency, I want an in-person town hall meeting. We will do a Teams version of it at the same time, but we're going to take over Nagy Hall here in Elkhart, and basically I'll do a short State of the Union kind of presentation, and then I will open up the podium to questions from board members, coaches, parents, grandparents, community people, whoever wants to come up and have a conversation and have their voice heard. The nice thing is that at Nagy Hall is the FOP lodge, so I don't think anybody's going to get all crazy and irate in the police lodge. So it should be a good location. I really want to at least get some participation with this, because I want everybody to have the opportunity to be heard. I've had conversations with parks in the last 6 months, and I think there's this stigma that we are, as a district, we're separate little pockets and we don't take the time to talk and communicate, and there's misunderstandings. I don't want to say miscommunication, because I don't think that's really the case at all. That's intentional. I think it's just a lack of communication, and I want to open up some avenues so that we can promote that. So that's what the town hall meeting is going to be on March 28th. I hope that you guys remember that date and don't schedule tryouts, because that seems to be what happened last year. Was everybody scheduled tryouts on the date I wanted to do the town hall, so I couldn't get that done. But keep that in mind as we move forward. On April 11th at the FOP Lodge, it's a president's meeting. That's where I'm going to ask that any parks that are going to do interleague play, bring me all of the teams at that point, so that I know I can start building schedules, right? Let me know teams, coaches, contact information, all that stuff. And if there are any dates that are going to conflict because of school events, travel ball, kids are on vacation, present them. I won't be able to give you everything you ask for when we build the schedule, but I'm going to try. I've got Diamond Scheduler, and I can put in a mountain of parameters, and we can make the best schedule that we can make. Just give me the opportunity to make it and do that. And to do that, you got to give me the information. I can't play this time. I can't play that time. On the 21st, which is probably the Tuesday before we start opening ceremonies, we'll have our interleague managers meeting. We'll get everybody their schedules. We'll talk about interleague rules and get everybody on their way.
Yeah.
On May 4th, which is the Monday after I think everybody will have started. If you would like to participate in the President's Tournament, whether it's major baseball or softball, or if we're going to potentially expand that, I need your regular season roster and your coach's information submitted to me, because the President's Tournament is for your regular season team. And in order to ensure transparency and everybody feels good about playing everybody else's regular season team, we'll just document who's on the roster. That way we don't have to worry about it.
But it might make you stand up in front of your camera.
Finally, after the Memorial Day weekend on June 8th, we'll start the President's Tournament.
Maybe.
And then let's that, and on June 15th, I intend to start whatever senior season that we can get done. It's going to be a 2-week season. So any parks that are ready to play, plan on the senior baseball, senior softball season starting on June 15th, going through probably the 28th. 2 weeks, I'll get as many games in as I possibly can fit in there based upon the number of people. What I will say is, if you are a park that has a senior ball club that is not participating in high school and they're looking for games to play, reach out to your other parks and you can schedule a game or a couple of games with them. You can make that happen. If you want me to facilitate it, let me know. But based upon the release of players from IHSAA, June 15th is the date I'm targeting to have those games start.
Before you move on, so you're saying 2 weeks season before All Stars, like
Correct.
nothing can be. Now, can you schedule games for after All Stars, or make a mock schedule for teams eliminated that can continue and pick up play?
We can do that with any division if everybody wants. Like, just because we played our district tournament doesn't mean we have to stop playing any division. If there are teams that want to continue to play and you want me to facilitate a schedule, I'm fine with that. If you want to do communication between coaches and parks and continue to do that on your own after the district tournament, that's encouraged. So, yep, get all the games in you can. And I mean, July and August, as long as the little guys aren't out there playing football, they're probably looking for something to do.
I just know last year for us, we were fortunate that Chet agreed to play us since the seniors didn't have a season. So it was hard to kind of reach out to the other parks and see if anyone wanted to continue playing and really get much response back from anyone. So I thought maybe if there was maybe a schedule of some form built into it, that it would already be on the books and everybody would know to expect it, and that's that.
Yeah. The problem is we got to make sure that we have participation. So I think that's something that when we put together the senior softball and baseball season, let's ask them at that point which teams are going to be committed to playing after July 15th. And if so, we'll schedule that out.
Could we ask that in one of our future president meetings, maybe, to see if, how parks are looking with signups and things like that, if they'd be willing to commit their parks? And
I don't have a problem doing that with every meeting. That's fine. It's just one of those things that we're probably not even going to have a definite until like June 12th on the number of teams that are going to participate. That senior division is getting tough. So if you guys can lock down your senior divisions ahead of time and really push into that, we can schedule out as much as we want to. That we have that ability. So okay. Now for the slide that's going to get me in trouble. Potential tournament dates. Now, does everybody see that little underlined bold statement underneath proceed with caution? Every one of these dates has the potential to change. This is tentative based upon the current configuration that we have. We had a few dates changed last year, and I put some people in an uproar. So I want you guys to know this is very tentative right now. As we get closer to April, these dates will firm up. But this is to give you some idea of what we're looking at for district tournaments. So, and these are based upon the state tournament right now. So we backed everything up 5 days based upon the state tournament.
Did we confirm we got the junior, senior softball state?
It's ours to take. Yes.
Okay, cool. Very cool.
Yep.
I know a really cool park that does like a big thing for softball state tournaments.
Okay. So that being said, the one that we're primarily responsible for this year is 8-10 baseball. Now, Angela, I did offer that to you, and you've been kind of back and forth on that. Where do you guys stand as a park for that?
I mean, we're always down to do a tournament.
That's not good enough.
This
I
is
like
the tournament.
Here's what and I'll get to you in a second, Christy.
I mean, we built our proposal last year for the major boys tournament, and it went to a different park. We stand on what, on what we can offer. It's the same thing. It's what we did for the senior girls that weren't even our park, any of us at all. We have a large board, we have the manpower, we have the teamwork. So I'm not afraid of putting our feet to the fire, and we've been very successful in the past. So
okay.
I think he's just looking, do you definitely want to say yes and commit to hosting it so we could schedule? We know you can do it. We've been there before.
Yeah, that's fine.
Hey, nailed it.
Okay.
But what if somebody else wants it? Can there be a vote, or how does that work?
You better just chill. You
Hey.
What?
Hey. Wait.
I was just asking a question.
No, I was
right,
being funny.
I understand. Here's the thing that we have. We have 2 different weekends that we're going to run tournaments. All right. I am not a person to not have a backup plan. And I have had conversations with Christy about hosting both tournaments because of the size of the location that she has. Angela, you've been flip-flopping back and forth of whether or not you guys were even going to be Little League, and I haven't gotten a commitment. Yes, I want this tournament. Right? And to be fair, Christy, your response too was very similar. I have interest in it. I don't want people to be interested in these tournaments. When we move forward and we get to next year and the following year, I don't want to hear people go, "Yeah, I'll do it." I mean, I got it.
I mean, I think also, to be fair though, Bishop, I think I was very transparent when we sat down with you and Ron and said that my biggest hesitation was the feedback that we had gotten from the major tournament proposal. So, I had said that we were ready to go at any point, but because of some of the feedback we had gotten, it kind of limited us. And you had said that those things wouldn't be an issue. So, I mean, that was our hindrance in true words.
Mm-hmm. So now the question is, because obviously right now, the way we're at right now, it sounds like Christy's really excited about hosting a tournament. Angela's really excited about hosting a tournament. Christy's stepping up there saying, I want 8-10 is what I thought I just heard. Is that what I just heard?
Again, I don't want to step on anybody's toes. We would like 8-10 if it's not already taken by Angela.
Okay.
Because I do feel with we having lights, I have 2 diamonds with lights.
Okay.
I have plenty of parking. And even if Angela, if you do take it and rainouts happen and Bishop, you need a field with lights and you need to move to us, I would like to be involved in a conversation of that as well.
Of course. I think here's how I feel based upon the conversations we've just had. Angela, I would like you guys to take the junior senior softball weekend.
Okay.
How do you feel about that?
We are a huge supporter of softball, so I that's fine. We've already hosted it before, so it wouldn't be, anything for us. The only
It's going to be significantly more teams.
Yes. I was gonna say the only thing that we would have to, prepare for is the amount of teams. We would need as much information as possible to be able to completely all the things. And we would want probably I know the last one we were able to borrow lights and have them put out for us, but I would like to ensure that we have a viable backup option for lights, if another park, whatever, if that happens to be an issue.
We're not going to do portable
Middlebury
lights
would, yeah, Middlebury would be apt for conversation of that as well, because we have lights on our junior senior diamond.
Yeah. So
I would
think,
I would be happy to work with Middlebury and making sure that, they're comfortable with being our backup. If lights are needed, if that's what Christy's saying.
Yep.
Angela?
Go ahead, Marlon.
Okay, Angela?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you make that second softball diamond available so we could have both softball diamonds?
Of course.
Because if we're going to do junior softball and senior softball at the same time, I'm not sure we can do with one, depending on how many teams show up.
So like I said, as long as I know the dates and I have enough prep, enough prep so that I can build our, everything that we're doing at our park around it and make sure we're not having any of our events or anything like that, then yeah, I don't foresee that being an issue. I just know our softball fields obviously are different sizes. So
Angela, is your second softball field fence large enough for senior softball? I think it's a little short.
Yeah, it's something I literally just put in my chat that I need to talk to my grounds guy and find out, because I think you might be right.
Okay. So
I also would like to host the state tournament this year. We have 3 senior size softball fields that are in prime condition. We do not have lights.
Okay. So let's table the junior senior softball state until we get some verification of some things. And let's plan on Middlebury hosting 8-10 baseball.
We can do that. Thank you.
If we come to find out that we're in a situation where we can't necessarily put junior seniors on Southeast's fields, let's have some conversations about what we can do. I wouldn't be opposed to utilizing the people that I have to possibly split a tournament, but
I was going to ask you this, because, and I haven't spoken to Liz about this, but I know that I've mentioned to you before, if we needed to do something with our next closest park, that is Southside, and we would be willing. I know that I personally would be willing to go to their park and give them, hands to help with too.
Okay. Well, let's see what your field dimensions are, and let's get that all figured out, and then let's bring this back up in our next meeting so that we can get prepared. Here's what I'm going to ask moving forward based upon this. Everybody has the opportunity to put in a request for this. And what I'd like to have is in the future. So at the end of this season, anybody who wants the opportunity to host a state tournament, I want you to put in a proposal by October 1st of the year prior. So for the 2027 season, at the end of this, when you start your 2027 October 1 season, right, where your board changes over, put in a bid so that we can look through and figure out what's the best for the tournament, for the district, all that stuff. if you guys would like an example of a well-formatted bid and things that are expected from somebody who's going to host the tournament, I can have Jane put together our operations manual from the last tournament, and we can get that out to all the presidents so you guys have reference material. But I don't want you to go into this blindfolded. I want you to know what you're getting into and what's expected from you guys. So that being said, that's all the information I have right now. Let's go back to our president's slide, and we're going to go around the room for good of the order. So FOP, anything you want to share with the group? They can't hear your head shake, honey. No. Diamond, Goshen, have anything they want to talk about or want to share?
No, we're good.
Okay. Middlebury, Christy, you got anything?
Oh, I have tons of things. No, I'm just kidding. No, we're good, and I'm just excited to work with everybody this year and make it a great season.
Good deal. Lucas, what can you do for me?
I have so much excitement for this season. I am so ready for the snow to go away and we can get ready to go.
Yeah, so true.
I am very interested. I had it written down on my list of things to add in the good of the order. I was reading this book last night, and they were talking about when their kids were in 8, 9, 10 baseball, they had a president's tournament. And I remember when I was playing, and Marlon was a new DA, and we did 8, 9, 10 president's tournament. I would love to see that come back if we can make it work.
I'm all for it. All I need is just some support. So if you've got, if you can talk to somebody that wouldn't mind helping coordinate it, let's do it.
Okay.
So I want to throw this out here on that. I don't know if you guys know how kind of personally sadistic I am. I'm back in school again and working on my MBA. So I'm a little stretched. So the stuff that I was
you played basketball.
Yeah. But I'm trying to use all these tools to help our league all become stronger and better. And unfortunately, that takes some significant time. So I don't have as much time and energy as I've had in prior years. I am going to lean a lot more on the staff and recruiting additional volunteers. So that being said, I'm not asking you to find somebody because I don't want to run that tournament. It's just I just don't know that I have the bandwidth to do it. So if we get people that are willing to step up as coordinators for specific divisions, 8, 10 baseball, junior softball, whatever, I will take it and we will run with it.
I'm willing to help as well, Bishop. I fortunately took a different job and have a lot more free time than I had before, as well as we have the biggest board at Goshen that I think we've had since I've been there.
Nice.
Excellent.
Wait, what's free time?
Well, let's just say time to not do anything right now, it feels like. But I'm ready to get back outside, that's for sure.
Good deal. Glad to hear it. All right. Awesome. Yeah. So reach out to the people you have and let them know that this is an opportunity and a possibility, and we will go from there. So anything else, Lucas?
I end every board meeting at Oslo with a reminder that in the rule book it states that all male catchers will wear a cup So just make sure that your kids, when they come to Oslo, your boys have cups on if they want to catch.
Or pitch.
Yes.
Yep. Good deal. Good
Thank
deal.
you.
Angela, Southeast. What you got?
I got nothing. Listen, I have said all the things I've done. Christy, I was not being rude. I was just kidding with you. Please don't take that the wrong way. I am just
You're
loud.
fine. Don't worry about it. It's
I'm
okay.
loud and Italian, so it just comes out. So please don't take offense to that at all. I mean, I might try to fight Asso later, but it's fine. It's not a big deal. It's cool.
All right, good
It's
deal.
okay. Well, we're good together.
Perfect.
And Elizabeth from Southside.
I had a couple of things. First of all,
Okay.
the expanding president's tournament or any kind of a tournament for outside of majors, I think is a great idea. We played in Southeast tournament last year and our kids loved it. We were
Awesome.
in the championship game. We didn't win, but almost.
They might have been
But I
robbed.
think that's a great idea.
That's exciting.
Yeah. So for sure, I'd be willing to help out with anything. You know, unfortunately, I don't have the help at our park that we would like to have, but hopefully that'll get better.
You're growing.
My other thing, yeah, maybe. My other thing was for Marlon. It's just a question as far as our constitution. Should we be implementing and adding in like the abuse training, you know, the abuse aspect of it and the protocols for reporting? Should that be in our constitution?
The best advice I can give you is to send me a copy or upload it into your filing cabinet, and then I'll take a look at it. It's easier to do that way than just kind of pick one or two, three items that you may or may not be concerned about, and then we can go from there.
Okay, because I'm pretty sure what we have is probably still what Janet had. I know last year I kind of got in there and looked at it, and it was kind of over my head. I had too much going on. So that's something I want to focus on for this year for sure.
Let me do this. Let me go into your filing cabinet and see what it looks like. The other thing is, and I've said this, and I'm going to be sending out some emails in the next week or so. There's a generic form that you can use, fill in the blanks, and you're pretty well done. And so that's something else you all can take a look at, and I'll fill everybody in on that when I send out some emails. But if you got one on file, I'll take a look at it, and I'll let you know, Elizabeth.
The short answer is yes, it should be in your constitution, but we'll get there. So, Angela, you had another question?
Yeah, I spaced it. So with New Prairie and Chet being gone, I know I asked you this relatively close to when you said you had found out about Chet leaving too, but have you thought about or what you're going to do for changing the boundary lines for our South Bend parks?
Well, this year we're going to hold those fast. New Prairie has been removed because they asked to be removed. So that is an open boundary right now. So let's see what kind of participation we have. Basically, anybody who plays in that or that wants to play for any one of the District 14 parks there, so Warren, Southside, Southeast, they would have to get a out of bounds waiver because they're in an unincorporated area, unless they're 4 to 7. Chet Wagner basically is going to be that same deal. I don't know that Chet doesn't come back next year based upon realizing that the boundaries that they have going into, say, Babe Ruth are not going to be the boundaries that they had as Chet Wagner.
So when you said New Prairie asked to be removed, does that mean that when people are looking up local little leagues, Chet's still going to populate as a little league to join?
It will.
Is that necessarily okay?
I'm having conversations with Central Region about that. So we'll see how that goes, and I will keep everybody posted on it.
Sorry, I got kicked out of the meeting for some reason, but I'm back now. I missed what Marlon was saying. I know he was going to pull our stuff up and look at it.
Yeah.
If I missed something else, I'm sorry.
Yeah, the short answer is yes, you have to have abuse awareness training in your constitution. That's a Little League protocol. So.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay. Then Angela brought up a question about the boundaries and eligibility for players from former Chet and New Prairie. New Prairie will not show up on the playball.org search anymore. They will be given a list of all the closest parks. I am working on that with Chet right now because I do agree. The thing that we need to keep in mind is Chet Wagner Little League is not going to be an organization that can operate without a charter. So they're going to have to retire their website. They're going to have to retire their signage. They're going to have to do some things in order to not be in violation of trademark infringement.
I guess I'm just, I understand that, but I guess I'm confused why they'd be allowed to stay on the list as Little League to people when they search.
Little League allows you to be non-chartered for up to 2 years before they make you inactive. That's a Little League rule. It's not a me rule.
That's a bummer.
But Bishop, is the district DA, you could remove them, right?
No, I don't have that authority. I can request and I can encourage, but I don't have the authority to do that. But I do have the authority to reach out to Williamsport and have a mountain of attorneys come down with infringement so that there is no Chet Wagner LittleLeague.org. And if that's not there, then the link between playball.org and Chet Wagner is no longer valid.
I would hope that they would just take their stuff down and remove it if they chose not to play Little League at this point.
I agree, but I also had to remind Concord when that happened.
So are they?
So can I understand in the Concord, Bishop, in the Concord situation, did they ask to be removed? Because in that situation, so Chet didn't ask to be removed or never got brought up, or I mean,
Chet didn't. Chet asked to just not charter this year. They wanted to take a year off.
How is that fair to the parks that are still operating? That if parks are just going to come and go, and I mean, I feel like it really puts parks that are neighboring in limbo. Like it's just I will say, going into this conversation and this meeting, I feel like one of the reasons we're in the spot we are is just basically inconsistent decisions that are being made, whether it's from you or what you're hearing from Central or whatever. And it's frustrating. I mean, it's why people step away, because it just sort of changes from year to year, and we're trying to operate under a consistent model and trying to build our parks. But when it's just sort of, well, we'll see what happens next year. It's just unfortunate, I guess.
If I had the authority to close that part or close that boundary, it'd have been done. The minute that they told me they weren't going to charter, I'd have closed it.
So then can I have the right then to ask that our boundary be redrawn, knowing that Chet's not chartering, so they don't have a say in what their boundary is? So when they come back, they lost. I mean, could Southeast, Southside, and us ask that St. Joe County boundaries be redrawn?
You have that right every year, regardless of whether or not a park
so how
is there.
Does that? How?
Just
so I guess I'm making that request then.
Yeah, but here's what I need you to do, and this is for everybody if they want to jump in on this and pay attention. In order to formally request a boundary change, essentially what you have to do is get a boundary map, redraw what the boundaries you want from what the boundaries you have. submit that to me. I submit that to Central Region, and then we have a communication with Central Region, you, any other parks that may be affected, and I get a decision from Central Region. But yes, submit it. Give me the map, give me the request. Let's do it.
Bishop, that's not what happened when Concord left. FOP just absorbed Concord's boundaries, and you said that's how it was going to be, and none of that process took place. That's the inconsistency I'm talking about.
How do you know who I had conversations with when I did that? How do you know that I didn't have conversations
because
with
I would
Goshen
think that the
and I
parks would have been
didn't
able to vote on it, Bishop, and we never voted on it. There was never a vote. So I don't care what conversations you had with who. If the idea is that we need to vote as all the parks, and that never happened, and you just absorbed a park and decided you were going to do what you wanted to do, that's what took place, Bishop.
So you disagree with the decision?
I'm just saying it's not being done the way you just described it. That's inconsistent decision making.
It happened exactly like I just described it.
We never voted on it, Bishop.
I
There was
never said
never a vote
anything
to
about a
decide
vote.
what was going to happen with Concord's district.
I never said anything about voting on whether or not you can gain boundaries. Did I? I said you can put in a request and then we can have a conversation about available boundaries and we could redraw those.
So when Concord left, who took over that boundary?
That was FOP. I assigned that boundary to FOP.
So could you assign the boundary to Warren then?
I can, yeah.
Why don't you do that?
You didn't send me a request and draw out the boundaries.
So when FOP did that, did they submit a request? Is that just, I mean.
Yes.
So how does boundaries change? I submit a request and you approve it, or I submit a request and we vote on it?
Depending on if it's a disputed boundary or not, then there's a conversation between the two disputees. And if it's an unincorporated boundary, then I can determine whether or not it needs to be done. I did the same thing with Bristol.
So then how would Southside know if I requested the boundary request? I feel like that's what happened. It was FOP made the request unbeknownst to Concord or Goshen or Cleveland or anybody else, and that was never discussed or talked about. And I submit the request, and Southside's sitting there, and Southeast is like, well, how did Warren get all of Chet's boundaries? Well, they requested it. That doesn't seem very good.
You're assuming that I didn't have a conversation with Goshen and I didn't have a conversation with Middlebury.
Well, I guess that's an assumption that's made, but once again,
and that's not
how do I know? I guess it's, man,
why would Warren have input on a boundary that they don't touch?
I don't know, because I guess I'm operating. I guess I'm operating. Yeah. I guess I'm operating under the fact that you incorporated or made it an LLC, and you made every park a deciding voting member, and that's what you said last year, how we were going to operate things, and then all parks were going to have a say on how the district was run in these matters, and then it just doesn't happen that way.
But those happened prior to the incorporation. So now, do you want to pose a motion that any boundary changes become a votable situation? Is that what you're doing?
I guess I'm just disappointed in the fact that there are parks leaving our district and that the parks that are staying are just sort of left in limbo, and that there's no, I guess, clear understanding of what is actually happening, unless it just affects you, but yet we're all part of this district and it's all affecting us, but we don't have a say in it.
Can I say, like, if we were to do something where it was like a vote situation, I mean, in my opinion, I think that's not terrible, but I also think that it should be kind of limited to, if it's an Elkhart Park that left, then the Elkhart Parks vote. If it's a South Bend Park that left, South Bend Parks vote, that kind of thing, because it is ultimately the South Bend parks that would benefit or be hurt with things like Chet and New Prairie not just kind of being out in limbo, because we're right there, we're the closest ones.
Yeah, because Chet comes nowhere
Seems like
near.
if we couldn't come to an
FOP.
understanding between our parks, Southeast, Southside, and Warren, on who would take that boundary, that maybe then it would go to a vote. But it definitely should be a conversation had between those parks that are affected and that are the closest.
And when a request is made, that's what I've done in the past.
Okay. I mean, I don't know the I guess what you have in motion as far as what we follow.
I currently I don't have anything planned for the Chet Wagner area other than to approve any waivers that are requested. Now, the question is, do we want to do something with that territory? And if Chet comes back and recharters next year based upon Little League rules, what happens with that area? That's something I need to take into consideration.
Then they get 4 city blocks.
But I need to back up for 1 second. I need to back up 1 second and let Warren know one thing. We, as FOP, had to agree that if Concord came back within, 3 years?
2 years.
2 years, we have to give them their boundaries back. Just so you know that. So that was part of the agreement.
Do we have to agree to that? Can we say we'll give them 4 city blocks and 2 string cheeses?
And some strawberries.
We can agree at all kinds of
Wait,
stuff,
I thought we
regardless.
said 2 city blocks, Angie.
Yeah, you're right. It was 2. I'm sorry. I meant
it wasn't
4
as
string cheeses,
easy
2 city
as-
blocks.
It's not as cut and dry and easy as it sounds. And at the same time, I was questioning how Oslo got the entire district of Bristol and why Middlebury didn't get it. So, I was questioning the same things.
I wish I knew that too, but my past president didn't tell me. So
Yeah, Christy, I was there. I was a general board member. And Oslo submitted a proposal, and it went and it was approved, and that's when it happened. As I understand it, and I was a general board member at the time, as I understand it, Middlebury did not. I don't know that to be fact, but that's the way I understood it.
I completely understand that. I'm just saying, me coming in as president, listening to all of this, my past president told us nothing. We knew nothing of what happened with Concord and stuff. So
I totally believe that. I've also experienced a lack of information from past presidents. But Bishop, can I ask you a question? When did Chet tell you they were not chartering?
Last week.
Okay. So Warren, Bishop's known for 7 plus or minus days. I would say, why don't you talk to Bishop and South Bend? Why don't you guys talk to Bishop? Say, how can we do this? We'd like to do it. Let's go about it and do it the way the rules say. And the rules are changed. Congress changes rules every year. So what happened with Oslo and Bristol was 5 years ago. And what happened with Concord and FOP was that was an 8-month process. So I would say you guys get together as South Bend, write a proposal, and come bring it to Bishop and see where we can go with that.
Well,
I would suggest you do it. I would suggest you do it quickly, though, because Cleveland's going to be involved in that because they're touching that border. And then there's also, was that Harris, too, that might be involved in that as well?
Penn Harris has reached out to me about becoming a Little League.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting. So
we
Harris,
had a lot of discussions last year.
Scott Weber?
Okay, Harris is... I'm sorry.
I was just clarifying. You've spoken to Scott?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we had probably 2 or 3 sit downs with their board last year that didn't wind up becoming anything. We even approached Cleveland and Chet Wagner about overlapping boundaries. And Chet Wagner was all for it. They welcomed the competition. Cleveland was less excited about the situation. So at the end of the day, Penn Harris felt that it just wasn't the right move for them. So there has been some communication already this year about it potentially, possibly just in softball, but it's just back and forth right now, nothing concrete. There's a lot of things in motion, but the the question now is you guys getting together and figuring out if we want to do anything, and is that a way for you guys to lock Chet Wagner out of coming back, or are you guys going to be comfortable with Chet Wagner coming back, establishing their boundaries as an overlapping boundary? There's a lot of things out there. So,
okay, so you said
I guess my next, hold on.
Go ahead. Sorry, Doug.
Sorry. I guess my next thing is there, and I apologize for kind of trying to understand this whole process. And I thought it was a little bit more knowledgeable that maybe they formally submitted a letter last week and that's the timeline on a formal notification like that. Is there talk of Little League doing away with boundaries altogether? I mean, is this in 2 years just all a moot point?
No, because I think they've got as close as they're going to get with the 4 to 7 group.
Let me ask you this, Bishop. Can we as a district agree that we don't need to have boundaries? Could we make that?
Ooh,
No, we can't change Little League.
No, that's
rules.
so beyond legally what we're allowed to do, not just from a Little League rule perspective, but from an AIG insurance perspective. That's a whole different ball game. So now I will say this: if you guys want to advertise T-ball all across Michiana, that's your business, because somebody in Middlebury can play T-ball for Warren with no problem. But you guys can only advertise your Little League for 8 and above in your boundaries. So that's what we're talking about.
So, and I hate to take you guys back to this, but somebody said that Cleveland is wanting to talk about taking some of Chet's boundaries too.
Sure, there's a possibility there.
So Chet has addresses that are in Elkhart in their boundaries?
Cleveland pushes right up against Mishawaka. Like Chet and Cleveland share a boundary.
So Cleveland pulls from Mishawaka kids?
Sometimes, yeah.
Without waivers?
When I was a child, Cleveland absorbed Harris when Harris left.
Yeah.
When I was a player at Cleveland.
Cleveland absorbed, I'm sorry, the Penn Harris Park?
Their boundaries for Little League. When I was still a player at Cleveland, and so their western boundary touches Chet's eastern.
Okay. So, I mean, I guess for me, I was just thinking, like, if a park has more South Bend territory, I mean, I guess I'm just being selfish, realistically, because I am looking at our parks with Warren and Southside. Obviously, we're not Southeast is not a huge park, but we're not small like they are, and they are trying to build their programs every year. So, in Cleveland's bigger. So for me, I'm speaking more so of saying, like, I'm not sure why they wouldn't it wouldn't mostly go towards them, in my opinion, in the South, and and of course us a little bit, but.
Well, here's one thing I want you guys to keep in mind. And this goes hand in hand with Doug's comment. People are going to play where people want to play. And the way to grow your park is through T-ball and through engaging your players and by giving them a good experience. And after all said and done, yes, boundaries are there. But if a player wants to play for Cleveland or Warsaw or Southside or whoever they want to play for. There is a path to make that happen. And it's been made easier and easier every year. So right now, the benefit to gaining territory is that you get top billing on the playball.org park search. But beyond that, if you put together a program that people want to participate in, people are going to want to participate in it. And there's a way to get that dealt with. It may be a red shirt waiver. It may be signing up their little brother to play t-ball there. And the thing about that, there's no paperwork involved in that. It's all processed through Sports Connect. So for us
I Bishop, I guess that's one of like my concerns is that if Chet's still going to have a boundary and they're still going to be listed, and somebody sees that Chet's not Little League, and for whatever reason they want to stay Little League, so they go to any park. I feel like, and again, it's just, I guess it's a formality, it's paperwork, but I mean, Chet made the decision to leave. Why put the onus on the parks that are staying in order to absorb that kid to have to go through the waivers process, which again is, I mean, it's somewhat tedious. I just feel like everybody is, like I said, just kind of being put in limbo. And that,
or to redshirt those players that want to play in a Little League park. I don't feel they should be redshirted for sure if they choose to play in a Little League park instead of Chet Wagner.
And those, when we had Bristol, a lot of those were waived, no problem. When we had Concord, a lot of those got waived. This isn't a cut and dry situation. And it's just something that, like I said, create a request on what you want to see happen, and then let's go deal with it. If I was to just close that boundary and assign territory, who am I going to make happy doing that? Because I don't know where the reach is for Warren. I don't know where the reach is for Southside or Southeast. I'm looking for you guys to give me the information of what you want to see.
I don't want to say that we're only focusing on Chet, because there is still New Prairie out there. So those boundary lines are there too. I don't want it to seem like we are only harping on Chet. But the fact that New Prairie removed themselves from a search is huge. I mean, obviously that helps our parks.
Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, here's the only thing I want you to keep in mind. Little League affords them the opportunity to be unchartered for 2 years. That's in the Little League rules. That's way beyond what I can do. Whether or not I agree with it or disagree with it is irrelevant, because it's the way it is. Now, in February, when I go to Congress, can I complain about it? Of course. Whenever I go to any of the regional meetings, can I complain about it? Yes, I can. But for the situation that we are currently in, we need to have you guys, either as a group or individually, request what you want, and let's move forward.
I think the biggest problem here is that people think you have a lot more power and control than you actually have. Therefore, it's so much easier to make you the scapegoat and the person to blame. Maybe they should go to Congress with you.
Let me, Doug, let me give you this information just to give you some context for a couple of these moves. For the Bristol move, everybody that's attending Bristol schools is going to wind up going to school at Elkhart. That's just the pathway. So that being said, it made more sense to put Bristol in with Oslo, so that the kids that they're playing with in elementary, they would also be playing with in high school. that path didn't exist to go to the Middlebury schools. So most of our boundaries are built upon school districts. And in the case of Concord, Concord's district was their Concord school district. So if we were to chop that up, which I don't think this is nearly as relevant for Chet's boundaries because you guys have multiple schools within those boundaries. But for Concord specifically, it didn't seem prudent to chop up Concord from the perspective that Concord still may come back, and Concord school district, you didn't want to divide kids playing at other schools against each other in the Concord school system. So that's some of the decision making. When you guys look at your request, keep that in mind. Look at the school districts that may be affected as you're trying to move into different areas, and don't, like, there's one section that I just drives me nuts right now, and it's Lakeville, and having those guys divided like that, it's so frustrating. I don't have a solution for it. It's just frustrating. So
do you know who did the boundary? Lakeville is something I was actually going to bring up, because the Lakeville, the LaVille High School is southeast boundaries. LaVille Elementary is south side, and literally they're on the exact same side of the street, and you just not even 12 feet, and you're in Lakeville or LaVille Elementary School.
Yep. Woody, who did that? What's that guy's name?
Mr. Weinberg.
Well, somebody.
I can't even blame Marlon for it.
Oh, well, I'd like to send him a letter, because that's weird.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Well, he's gone.
But I mean, here's one of these things, like, you and Elizabeth have a conversation about that, right? What makes sense for both parks? And if you guys can't come to a consensus, then it just stays the way it is. But if you guys sit down and have that conversation with each other, and you realize, okay, we're going to do this, send a request, let's talk about it.
Well, Plymouth is the same way. And what we did last year was, I signed a waiver for a couple of kids to go to Southeast. It's to me, it's where the kids want to play. I'd love to have them at our park, but if they have a request and they want to play somewhere else, I'm going to honor that, as much as sometimes I hated signing waivers to some parks. I'm going to try to honor that as much as I can to get the kids where they want to play, because I'd rather them play than to not play.
That's just good karma.
That's how our park works too. We've been very successful with working with Warren and Southside, primarily, to be honest with you. We've got pretty great relationships over here, so we haven't really had any issues on that end. It just was very mind-boggling why that would, just looking at that is crazy to me. But
okay, here's what I would ask between Doug and Elizabeth and Angela, and once we get somebody squared away at Cleveland, hopefully within the next week, you four have a conversation with each other about what makes sense. Because you have familiarities with the school districts, you understand, where you're seeing kids from and where you're not seeing kids from. Just start the conversation about what makes sense for that area.
So there's not a president in Cleveland right now?
Currently, there is not. There's a VP. there's a player agent. There's a couple board members. Unfortunately, he got a bit overwhelmed by his job and had to step down. So it happens. I keep trying to get impeached, but nobody will do it. So I get it. So have the conversation and reach out to me, next week, the following week, once you guys start to have that conversation, and let's see where it goes. Okay. And there's the fun thing. I used the term and nobody said boo about it, was overlapping boundaries. Little League has established that parks can share boundaries. There's there's no waivers to be had with that situation. The child in that overlapping boundary is allowed to play for either park without a waiver.
So if I'm understanding the timeline and everything correctly, I mean, this is a 2-year decision on it. I mean, there's no point in making any proposals or moving forward if Chet's boundaries is allowed to stay that way for 2 years, or they would have to explicitly ask you to be removed from everything. That's kind of where we're at. I mean, because to your point about FOP, if Concord wanted to come back, they would have to give back the boundaries, which I understood that as well, and that made sense. But I mean, right now as it stands, maybe just I guess I got a little more clarification on everything that was happening, and then the fact that they could stay basically unchartered, but still within the Little League system for 2 years, just means that's really we're just going to be in limbo. And like I said, that's just very frustrating, and it's very unfortunate for the parks that are sticking with it and trying to make the district better. That a park can just be like, well, we'll see what it's like over here, and they come back for a year and then they get another 2-year grace period, and they can just keep yo-yoing back and forth. Like I don't know. It's just like I said, it's frustrating, and
so
like
request
Reese said,
the entire boundary
probably
as an overlapping boundary.
Okay, like maybe you guys got more.
Well, that's
just assume you have more power than what you do, and you don't. Your hands are tied. But boy, this just like I said, trying to move forward with registration and doing something that's consistent, just to have that 2-year sort of window out there where there's no reason to be making any of these decisions is, like I said, just very frustrating.
Is that something that we could request? So if let's say the 4 of us sit down and we redraw what works best for, the parks that should have absorb Chet's people. And instead of agreeing to Chet coming back in 2 years and being able to just resume where they left off at, we could essentially say, well, if they come back within those 2 years, we'll overlap the boundaries, but they can't just have free reign of the whole boundary. Is that something we can say?
Yes, that's something you can say.
And that's something that could be approved.
Yeah.
And does Chet have any, does somebody go, like, you wouldn't go to Chet and say, like, this is the stipulations, or are they involved too?
No, I go to Central Region and sell that to Central Region.
Are they easy to work with?
Most of the time, yeah.
Okay.
We're trying to do what's best for the kids and keep kids playing Little League, right?
Yeah. I mean, that might, Doug, I don't know how you feel about it, or Liz, but that might be something, a compromise. And, if they're going to be allowed by Little League law to come back and take their territory, then maybe we could, impose that stipulation of it's overlap boundaries, not just free for all, that Chet gets, immediately it back.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, our registrations are open, and we're probably looking at the 26 season to be the way it is, the way it's been set up for the 25 season. And I guess it said we're just probably in this holding pattern until the fall of 26, where we sit down and start having these conversations. So
you can make a change to this as of, like, if you guys come up with an agreement and present it by next week, this change can be put in place within the next 15 days.
There you go, guys.
But how the family's going to know about it? Like, would that mean then that Chet won't show for them as a sign-up location?
The thing for you, basically it'll show all of you guys as a sign-up location, depending on their address. And then when they click on Chet Wagner Little League and it shows the broken link, and they're like, well, I'll just go to the next one.
That's what I was going to say. So it takes Because as of right now, it only would show Chet for them, not the
Mhm.
rest of us, right?
Yeah. It shows this is the park that you need to play for, based upon the address or the school.
Yeah, and then yeah.
As opposed to if it was an overlapping boundary, the parks sharing that boundary would show up with Chet.
But if we were to propose something, we would propose to have Chet removed from the system until they decide to come back. And then when they come back, that's when we would share the boundary with them. Overlap the boundary, I should say.
Right. Now that portion of it probably doesn't get agreed to.
By state? Or
by
Congress
central.
or central, yeah, wherever.
Yeah.
The president, whoever that is.
Because they made a point to ask, is Chet Wagner wanting to be inactive, or do they want to remain with the potential to come back the following year? That was specifically asked by Central Region.
And they said that they wanted to.
Yes.
Well, like I said, I think there was, again, some misinformation, misunderstanding. I think there's a little bit more clarity. Unfortunately, in my mind, I feel like the clarity of it all is just, like I said, a little bit more confusing on if what's going to happen moving forward. But yeah, we'll take some time here, I guess, to have some conversations and think about, what we think is best moving forward. And yeah, we'll work through it. So again, apologize for the emotion on it, and you learn your lesson sometimes. What you don't know, you don't know. So
well, yeah, and to Doug's point, that is true. I think it's frustrating that a lot of us knew. I shouldn't say a lot of us, but I know specifically our park knew Chet was leaving back in October. So I think that it's just a little frustrating to know that they could have, been forthcoming.
And I had conversations with Justin in December about what's going on, and he's like, no, and then and then I got this just last week. So,
and it was ugly and uncomfortable for me.
Oh, I can imagine. And for that, it was uncomfortable for a challenger too.
Yeah. So we're working on rehoming the South Bend Challenger division. Have you had time to have conversations with Brian?
I did. Yep. He actually came to our board meeting on Thursday.
Okay.
He's going to come look at our park on one of the nicer days so he can see the fields and see what would be most accessible. He was very transparent in saying that our park, kind of won the shortest of all, the big straws, because we don't, our fields aren't primarily, downhill, and we're not near big trains and all that stuff. So I just told him, think about it and let us know. So he's supposed to be communicating with me in the next, I guess today, really, I should be hearing from him. So.
Okay. All right.
The dig on the trains is you get a hit, we blow the train whistle. That's the lure of our park.
Yeah, he was saying that because of the kids' challenges. Yeah,
I know.
Yeah, no, to be honest with you, I didn't even think about it. I did tell him, I said, but we also have the bypass, so you're gonna run into crashes and horns honking.
And can I say, our hill at Southside is a major attraction for all kids and
adults.
There you go.
I'm still not sure why you don't host like sledding events there in the wintertime. I'm just saying.
It's been a conversation, but we need some hay bales, and we've thought this out.
Insurance.
Insurance would be good.
Well, we will.
Liability waivers signed at any point. Sign me up.
We have done water slides in the past, so
yeah, giant slip and slide too. Oh my gosh.
All right, so let's hear from Jody at Warsaw. How you doing, Jody?
Just sitting back and listening. No, I'm good. Yeah. I don't have any no issues.
Now I did start the beginning of a conversation with you, and I talked with District 10. I'm all for having Warsaw in our district. I love playing down at your park. It's a great park. I've got some amazing memories playing at that park. I'd love to see you guys be able to be participate more. So have you guys put any consideration into becoming a part of District 10?
I saw your text and I looked at it, and then I looked at the leagues, and it doesn't benefit us travel wise. It's essentially going to be similar travel to what we do to get up to any of your guys' parks, with the exception of Goshen's pretty close to us compared to everybody else. But like Auburn, that's an hour, a little over an hour. Fort Wayne, depending on where you're going, it's an hour or so. So it doesn't really geographically might make sense, maybe more, but it doesn't really save us any time or anywhere for us to really benefit the whole pick up and move sort of thing.
I get you. I just wanted to get the conversation going to give you guys the opportunity to make the best of what your park needs. So that being said, if you guys want to play some of those closer parks down there, put in a special games request and we can get those covered, no problem. So
sure,
it's no different than the parks up here wanting to play Edwardsburg. They're across the Michigan line. They're not a part of our district, and it's just a piece of paper that allows that to happen. So go ahead and keep that in mind. So all right. Yes, it has gone over an hour. So before we head out of here, what do you got? Anything to share with anybody?
Yeah, I looked into that safety base thing real quick while we're having this meeting, and it says in the rule book it may be used if you wish.
Not required.
But not required. But there will be a safety base in all regionals and World Series. And last year, there became a situation, excuse me, on the softball side that runners did not know how to use the safety base, and outs were called because he overran first base and returned back to the orange, and they were tagged out. So my suggestion is that if you parks can afford it, implement a safety base. So if you do advance into the All-Star tournament, you'll be more acclimated to it in the future.
Good deal.
That's just my take on it.
It's good advice.
And it may be used, but it's not mandatory in baseball. I do know, being down in Little League meetings, that they will go to it sooner or later, all across the Little League world.
Okay. So that being said, to close stuff out here, the next important date for us is going to be at the end of the month. That's going to be our safety clinic. I will send out a copy of this meeting along with a transcription, so you guys have that for reference. And let's have a great season. All right. I appreciate you guys spending this time.
Yeah, thanks, Bishop.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Everybody.
Yep, we'll see you guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you guys. Have a nice night.